I deployed to Afghanistan in early 2010 with the U.S. Army, the 101st Airborne Division. Our role was to mentor local Afghan forces and develop the peace and security of that part of Afghanistan in the eastern mountains. And unfortunately, our role was also to fight the Taliban. And while there, I was pretty badly wounded while leading a group of Afghan and American guys. I was really broken emotionally, physically, relationally, and I was angry at myself. I had some survivor's guilt. I was angry at Afghans. I was angry at Muslims. I was angry at God. I was angry at the Army as well. God used that experience to make me wholly His in a way that I'd honestly, in a level of commitment I never had before for the life of Jesus. And so God really radically blew me into the ministry away from the military. And I accepted that call, and I thought, what do you do? Well, you go to seminary. So I moved to Houston. The area where we live, Sharpstown, Gulfton, is the most densely populated area in Houston, one of the most diverse zip codes in the nation, and contains a huge array of refugees. Houston's the #1 refugee city in America. There are literally like hundreds of ethnicities. They're all living on top of each other, next to each other, and there are several different kinds of places of worship. And this area struggles with poverty and a lack of education and violence even, and gang life. And I always thought somebody should plant a church here. So the mission of Refuge, we exist to share and show Christ's love with everybody far from God in Southwest Houston. This area of town that is an amazing collection of native Houstonians and transplants from all over, like me and Anna, and refugees, and people just seeking a better life in the United States. And we pray that Refuge would be a people and a place of refuge.
Tens of thousands of Afghan refugees starting a new life in America, so many of them desperate to flee the Taliban's grip, now trying to acclimate to a new land during a pandemic.
In the last few months, at the end of the year of 2021, thousands of Afghan refugees came. They've come almost without any preparation. You guys probably saw the news. It was horrible. I mean, many have not even made it out. The ones who have many people stuck back home. They just came with the clothes on their backs. So we've gotten clothes and food and mattresses and furniture, and we've hired people from their ethnic backgrounds and from their religious backgrounds who are now Christians to help care for these refugees. There is an existing case worker network through refugee agencies, but they're overwhelmed. So we've tried to fill in and take Afghan refugees to doctor's appointments and try to hook them up with ESL classes and just any other ways that we can show the love of Christ, and in that, try to offer hope when we can. We have been so blessed. We got a ton of calls when Afghan refugees started pouring in. The crisis response team was instrumental in setting up a meeting between different parts of the ESCA that this refugee crisis touches. Church planning, global missions, the Reach Global Missions team, crisis response, all people, immigrant hope. That's all here happening in Houston, and we see God moving in a time of, we see lots of obstacles, but a tremendous opportunity to be the body at large in welcoming refugees to Jesus Christ. God has brought me from a place of opposition to Afghans, to a place of love through Jesus Christ. And I think that's the miracle that God's worked in my heart. And it turns out that these, especially some of these guys that I've become friends with, they're not my enemies, they're my brothers and sisters. I want to encourage the American church to see the stranger in their midst. A lot of people who've come from, say, Central America don't have a refugee status, but they have come fleeing drug trafficking and violence from cartels. In addition to the refugees now being resettled all over the United States in cities like never before, God has placed them in our midst for a reason, and He has placed the church here for this time.